Today is International Overdose Awareness Day. It's a day where we recognize another pandemic that is out there that last year took 1,316 lives of Kentuckians we love and care about. And it wouldn't be right to start today with anything other than a somber recognition of this challenge, one that got me into running for office, one that I have been committed to addressing, and one that's taken people I know and care about and has taken so many people's parents and grandparents. So International Overdose Awareness Day is a global event held on August 31st each year. Its purpose is simple: to raise awareness of overdoses, reduce the stigma of drug-related deaths, and acknowledge the grief felt by families and friends. I've seen firsthand how drugs have affected our state, as well as people I know personally that I've lost. I still remember several years ago being in downtown Lexington, middle of the afternoon, when about 4 cars up, we saw this big plume of smoke. And in going up to figure out what's going on, the driver was overdosing. I still remember grabbing one of his arms to pull him from the car so that Narcan could be administered, and knowing if we couldn't get him out of the car, he's a bigger individual, if we couldn't get him out of the car, that might be it. There might not be time. He might not still be with us. And I remember as he was laying there in the middle of the street, how he stopped breathing, and the different colors that he turned, and knowing that the last color that he turned was dead. Now, Narcan was able, thanks to Lexington police and EMT that worked in the Attorney General's office as also an investigator, was able to bring him back to this world. But to watch somebody dying from an overdose in front of you is something that I know that far too many people out there have seen, with results that are far worse. And whether it was in my time leading up to being Attorney General, or the days that I've served, or the days since, sitting with families that have lost their children especially. The Northern Kentucky Hates Heroin group, an amazing group of parents that have come together to try to make sure that it doesn't happen to any other family out there, sharing just a little bit of their grief, sitting with them as they look at photos and talk to me about how special their kids were, helping out, whether it was the day that they were here, the very first time they came up, that a different Governor Beshear came out here and talked to them, or the 5K that I've gotten to go to every year to help raise awareness, where thousands of people turn out in Northern Kentucky. To my friend Emily, who leads Fed Up in Kentucky, who lost her son TJ right before he was going to deploy with our National Guard. There's so much pain out there. And these drugs, somebody may make a bad decision in the start. But by the time that an overdose happens, typically they have been suffering from addiction that we cannot treat as a bad decision. We have to treat it as the disease that it is, knowing that it is preventable, and knowing that all of us can step in to either try to help an individual suffering from it, or to hopefully be there with the training necessary to protect them in that worst moment. And I promised Emily when I ran for Attorney General that I'd do everything in my power to hold the companies, pharmaceutical companies, accountable, and as Attorney General, I filed more lawsuits against opioid manufacturers and distributors than anybody else in the country. Now, my job is a little different, but my commitment has not changed. A big part of that is access to health care, ensuring that no one ever thinks that they can't go and get the help they need because of its cost. About making sure we're looking out for the physical, mental, and emotional health of all Kentuckians, and trying to make sure that we are investing knowing how many people are suffering to make sure that there's always someone there, that these community groups that do such a great job have the support they need. So listen, as Team Kentucky, we talk a lot about COVID, and rightfully so, but let's make sure Team Kentucky extends beyond this crisis to others that we've been dealing with and that we are right now. Awareness can be the key to someone's survival. Knowing what Narcan or naloxone is, knowing how to use it, knowing who to call, knowing if someone is suffering from addiction, and trying to get them help early. It can be uncomfortable, but it's that one call, it's that one intervention, maybe it's multiple ones, that may be the difference between somebody's life and somebody's death. And we talk about the tough outcome. What about all the positive outcomes of those that have gotten help, have pulled their families back together, have gotten their kids back with them, have rebuilt their lives? I have a friend who was able to start multiple automotive parts companies. He actually does some photography for baseball too. And to be able to, after he got his life back together, eventually even rightfully getting a pardon for crimes that he committed while under the influence, under addiction, watching how a family can come back together, can heal and create such a brighter future. This is really important for us. So make sure, even when we are in the midst of what we're dealing with, that we're looking out for those around us, because COVID doesn't make this any easier, it makes it harder. It makes it harder on us mentally and emotionally, which can fuel more addiction. It makes it harder for us to be there and to know when someone is suffering from an addiction. It may make it harder to get to them when we need to. So please, keep up all your efforts. Redouble them if we have to. It is about saving lives. And finally, Kentucky State Police Angel Initiative, something started by my predecessor, a great program, something we're going to keep doing, making sure that we have those types of initiatives where anybody can visit a KSP post, be paired with a local officer who will assist them in locating appropriate treatment. This is bigger than all of us. It is another challenge of our times that really questions the type of people that we are. My kids, your kids and grandkids deserve a Commonwealth not just free of COVID, but one where we finally get beyond just the massive amount of addiction we're dealing with, where we get our people healthier, and we move beyond not just the current crisis we're dealing with, but this drug crisis as well. And you know, those that suffer from addiction, you shouldn't have the stigma that oftentimes people want to bring up or place. And if you're out there and you're trying to get help, it doesn't matter if it's the first time or the 10th time, you're doing the right thing. If anybody judges you for that, and it doesn't say something about you, it says something about them. So everybody out there struggling to get their life back together, keep trying. We're all rooting for you.